Female gamers of Reddit, what's the creepiest thing someone has said to you in-game once they realized you're a girl? For more infotainment, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching. Was casually playing Minecraft and some dude in my voice channel asked if I was a girl. My skin is pretty neutral. I answered truthfully with yes, and he immediately asked if I'm right now. I played Diablo 2 as a female character when it came out. I was in college and had a lot of free time between classes. I'd often help dudes out. Being a higher level than most of them, I'd help them power level. One guy asked if I was really female. I'm not, and so I figured I'd let him think I was. He immediately started giving me instructions on how to pleasure myself for him. When he was done, I said something like, "Wait, let me see what my dad thinks. I'm only 9. That dude logged out of there so fast. I added him to my friends list but literally never saw him again. I used to be a moderator of a gaming forum. I used male avatars, but there were a few people who knew about my real gender. I didn't keep it a secret, but didn't correct people if they addressed me with man or dude or something. Some guy singled me out for what he perceived to be grave injustices perpetrated by the mod team and made about 30 accounts just to insult me. The very last insult was something much like this. For the record, the forum had a word filter. "K, I'm done playing with you. I just want you to know how totally worthless you are. Every night your father slips his tiny into your mouth and while your mother watches. I know because I watch too. And you're a smelly brown. You wish you had friends but you never will. You'll die alone, you worthless, you piece of." My male colleagues were horrified and shadowed me for a while in case the guy cropped up again, while my female colleagues were confused at the boys' shock since similar stuff happened to them all the time, and I was busy laughing my off at the theatricality of the guy's dramatic departure. Also, I'm not black. My avatar had a tan, but in reality I'm a completely average blonde, blue-eyed Dutch woman. I considered asking if he was actually a smurf since his avatar had blue skin, but decided against it. Anyway, the admin blocked his IP and apparently he didn't try to circumvent the block, since we never saw him again. A female colleague who had somewhat of an internet presence had the administrator block users from PMing her since she received daily requests for links with extreme gore, often with her face or the face of her avatar shopped on the female star's body, and links with pics. Later on, someone tried to dox her, initially spilling the information of a completely different woman who happened to have the same name, then finding the actual info of my colleague and actually traveling to her house. According to a few of the male mods who'd started an investigation and contacted the police, the male mods and the doxed colleague were the only ones from the country the site was hosted in. Coincidentally, the other female mods were all foreigners. He was apprehended in her neighborhood, just a few streets away from her house. I was chatting with her on MSN at the time that was going on and stayed online until deep into the night because she begged me to stay with her even though we were continents apart. When we got the all clear, one of the male moderators, whom she had met a few times before, went on the Greyhound to her place so she'd feel safe and I went to bed. That was utterly bizarre. She got stalked because of something she supposedly did on a relatively small gaming forum. Edit. I should add that the vast majority of male gamers I met were perfectly good and decent people. A bit impulsive because most of them were teenagers, but not. Still figuring themselves and the world out. These creeps belonged to a minority that probably seemed larger than it really was because they tended to using multiple accounts. I wouldn't be surprised if that same thing to some extent goes for Reddit as well. I don't think the average Redditer is a creep. Jesus Christ. What a horrifying story. It makes me ashamed to be the same gender as these degenerate lowlifes. I hope your colleague is okay. There's no need to be ashamed. You can only be held responsible for your own actions. These guys weren't representative of the male gamers I met in that game and on the forum. I've had quite some brief but warm friendships with especially male gamers. There weren't as many gals around, and still think of them very fondly. I had so much fun meeting such diverse people in that game. It's the good type of nostalgia. My ex-colleague is fine. She settled down and has a dog and a fiancé, if I'm not mistaken. I mute people in lobbies and turn off my in-game voice these days, but back in high school I had a lot of creepers DM me. Guys would ask my age, ask for 25-plus-year-olds asking this when they knew I was a minor. I was stupid enough to tell them, and guys telling me they loved me. This was on PlayStation. On PC I didn't really have a problem with that. Just ran into plenty of generic toxic people. I hate that. I gamed with quite a few ladies, mostly from Britain because we were in the same guild. Whenever I meet a female gamer IRL they always get creeped out when I ask for their gamer tag. It's because that culture that exists, I have less people to game with. I'm going to you. How big are your? You play like you have small. What does this even mean? Do you have a boyfriend / did your boyfriend boost your account? Talk more, your voice is using my mic. You sound like a decided to stop using my mic. That's my top creep moments. But there's a lot of that gets said when PPL realize you're not a guy. You get pretty immune to the regular my / wanna / how big are your response. After this I never played online games with strangers again. A guy would not stop me. Messaged me constantly, wouldn't stop trying to belittle me, call me names. Wasn't hitting on me or anything, just telling me I should myself and whatnot. To this I just don't get this. Back in my younger days my friends and I were always like, wouldn't it be cool if girls were into video games and would actually wanna play games with us? And now that way more girls are into gaming, guys just wanna talk them. It makes no sense. I think it's a really small minority of guys who are like this. The problem is they're prolific. The thing is, when you're dealing with millions of gamers, even if only 1% of them are, you're still talking about tens of thousands of. And that's before you deal with the subset of trolls and cukers who are equal opportunity just probing for a sensitive spot. I don't say that to defend them, just saying that their toxic behavior is nothing personal, they're just bad people. When most guys say I wish there were more women in gaming, they're being sincere. But they're a completely different subset of men than the squeakers yelling slurs and telling anyone with a feminine gamer tag or effeminate voice to get back in the kitchen. Not me, but this happens to my friend all the time. They treat her like and call her the most insulting and degrading names while they play, and then when they realizes she's a girl, they say something along the lines of, "Hey, I'm sorry about earlier. If I had known you were such a pretty girl, I never would have said those things. Maybe we should get to know each other a little more." Like seriously dude, you think she's going to want your greasy 1mm Peter after you called her the word? There were a few small comments that I hardly plaid mind to. Can I have your number? What's your Insta / Snapchat? Make me a sandwich, get out of the lobby. There were annoying, sure, but I mostly brushed them off. Now, the creepiest ones were the people who said they were going to me and then tell now how they were going to do it in a very graphic detail. It did throw me out of the gaming community for a while because it made me more than uncomfortable hearing it, but now I'm trying to slowly get back into gaming. I have a very high voice, so I often get told I sound like I'm 12, I'm in my 30s. But as soon as I open my mouth in voice chat, grown men are all over me. I get PMS asking about personal details like where I live and telling me, not asking, telling, I'm their soulmate. And then come they, so many as soon as they realize I'm not available and refuse to be their soulmate. Even guys get. I lost the count of the amount of times some dude with a deep voice said he would find and me. Normally I will just argue back because I'm a little toxic and like watching chaos, but if it's that simple for you or if you get too uncomfortable.